Hi, I'm Barb Bauer, and I'm the coordinator at the Ciccone Lab, and I'm going to walk you through the mask making kit that we have available for you. I'm also going to give you a rough idea of what's going to happen in the actual live class, but if you're not able to make the live class, you should be able to try and make a mask just from this video. And if you have any questions, you can contact us and I'll try and walk you through it. In the meantime, I do want to thank my husband David, who is being my camera person here for this little video. And so let's get started. The masks that we have available for you to make are like this. They're a flat pleated mask and it has 4 ties. The ties, so these were all made with material that we had at the Ciccone Lab. We ironed every piece on high heat and did not handle it with human hands after that. We did that with gloves. We also ironed all the ribbons, just so you know. And then they were packed into your mask making kit. I'm gonna go through the kit now and show you what you get when you pick this up. By the way, when you pick these up, you should be registered for the class, and then you'll contact us when you arrive during the pickup times. The pickup times are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 4 to 7 in the 2 weeks before the class. When you call us, we'll bring out your kit in a box and we'll back away and you can pick up your kit and we'll take the box inside. So this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a piece of brown wrapped paper. This was all handled with rubber gloves. And this one I'm just gonna unwrap so you can see what to expect. They were all wrapped in brown paper. You have some nice instructions here that I put together. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. You can also report any typos. I'm sure there are some. We adapted this from a New York Times article from a few weeks ago. And there's also a pattern in the back if you decide to make more of your own. I think, bless you, sweetie, my husband just sneezed. We also have a pattern in the back if you want to make more, but we give you enough in this kit to make 5 masks. So what we have are 10 pieces of fabric, and you'll have 20 pieces of some kind of ribbon. All the ribbon we used was cloth. This one that I'm opening up, I knew did not have enough ribbon. We actually used up pretty much every bit of ribbon that we had in the lab to make these, and we have only about 30 kits. So this was actually extra. So you have these pieces of ribbon. Like I said, they're the way that I cut them. Let me just get them all trimmed a little bit, because these are sticking together because of the kind of ribbon it was. Not all the ribbons like this. So we want 4 pieces for each mask, and we need 2 pieces of fabric. So your kit will have at least 5 different kinds of fabric. Some of them you may have even more. So let's start with, oh wow, let's do this one with we've got some really fun fabric here. So let's do this one with the nifty skulls. So let's figure out what we need to do. We've got our 2 pieces of fabric. We have our 4 ribbons. Okay, and I'm going to move all this out of the way. So I would expect that you're probably going to use a sewing machine. If you're not going to use a sewing machine, then all the sewing that I'm going to show you, you're going to have to do by hand. So you want to take the right side of the fabric and just take one of them. You're going to take a pin, and if you look at the pattern, I'll show you here. You want to pin where the X's are, roughly. That's where you want to have the ribbons attach. And so you want to have them overlap the edge and pin them kind of far away from the edge because you don't want your sewing machine to run over the pins. But there's one ribbon. Here's another. I'm gonna put this one out a little bit there. Okay. And we'll do this one here again. And where's my 4th ribbon? Did I only cut? Yeah, okay, yeah, here we go. I just have to get another one free. These did fray a little bit on the ends. So we got that one. That's our 4th one. So like I said, we want them to run across the edge. Now the other thing that I want to do is make sure that they're all like kind of curled up in the middle. If they're overlapping the edge, they might accidentally get stitched. So I'm just going to kind of organize them a little bit around the middle here. And I'm going to use a pin and I'm going to pin them. I'm going to try and pin most of them down. Okay, and just make sure that it's laying flat. Now we're going to take the other piece of fabric and we're going to lay it on top of the whole mess there. And what we're going to do is we're going to stitch around. If you look at the pattern again, we're going to stitch like this, all along here, all along this dotted line along the edge. But we're not going to stitch between these two dots. You need to leave an opening so we can flip it inside out. So I'm just going to put a couple of pins along the edges here. You may want to pin this a little more thoroughly than I am. You know, one trick that I picked up from Heather Hutchison, who teaches sewing at the Taccone Lab, is the idea of putting 2 pins to make an X where you don't want to sew past. So if I start sewing here, where this, so this is like in, to mark where my dots are roughly. So you see how these pins are on an X? I know if I start here, or if I start here and stitch all the way around, then when I come back to this one, I'll know to stop stitching and not accidentally seal my whole thing together. All right, let's make sure we don't have any ribbon sticking out. And so this is the first part. We're gonna just attach our ribbons and put the 2 pieces together. All right, so we're gonna start here. Actually, we'll start with this X here. And, all right, I'm actually gonna take these pins out because I like to take out pins as I'm sewing. All right, and I know I'm gonna put down my presser foot, my magnets back here. Let's get my pedal. Where's it at? It always moves around. Oh, I see, okay. Okay, all right. So now, I got that down. Okay, let's go here. Okay. Did my thread break? Yes, it did. Okay. Let's, I'm gonna rethread my machine. You wanna stop that? Running again. I had to rethread my machine and I didn't want you to have to watch that. So here we go. We're going to stitch along here. Oh, I gotta stop a second. Take out that pin. I'm gonna lift up my presser foot and get to the edge of that pin, pull it out, put the presser foot back down. Now you see, this is where the ribbon is sticking out of the corner. So I'm gonna get to that corner, stop, right, leave my needle in, I'm gonna turn it, and then I'm gonna go down a little bit more, and then I'm gonna reinforce the corner, which means I'm gonna lift this up again, I'm gonna run back over where I had. If you have a back stitch on your machine, you can just do this as a back stitch. This poor little featherweight from like, I don't know, I think the early 60s or mid 60s, does not have a back stitch. So I usually just stop and go back over what I just stitched. So this way, the ribbon is very secure in the fabric. Okay, oh, I thought that was in, but it's not. So now we're gonna go to the next corner. I'm going to stop and pull out this pin, and we're gonna keep going. Something's caught here, something's pulling. I don't know what. Let's go. Come on. What's the matter? There we go. And, all right. I want this pin out of the way too, because I think it's too close to the corner, but I know that where this ribbon is, so. Okay. Down to the edge here. And I like to leave the needle in the fabric when I'm trying to do a nice sharp corner like these. Stop, back over. Okay. Back a little bit more. One more stitch. And remember, you should never turn your wheel away from you, always towards you. If you're hand rolling your sewing machine wheel, always towards you. Okay, now we're gonna go down this long edge, get to the third corner. Get these lined up nicer. All right, we're pretty far away from that pin. Okay. One more. Nah. Oh, yeah, no, there we go. I don't know if it's on that pin or what. Something's caught there. I'm not sure what. It looks like that. I don't know. Let's see what we get here. Oh, it may have just been picked up one of the threads. All right, we're gonna stop back and go around. Okay. Oop. Back over. And then we go back around. Thank you so much for your camera work, David. And back down. One more. Always make sure the presser foot is down before you stitch. This is not meant to be a sewing class, but more a how to sew a mask class. There we go. And we're gonna stitch a, let me make sure that pin is not in the way. Where that one might be. Let me get that pin out of there before we go any further. The ribbon is secure at this point. Okay. A little bit more. Go back. Strengthen that corner again. Okay, and now we can run to the finish. Right there. Stop. And you can see where that X is. We're going to pull that all out now. And I'll finish this up just a little bit further. And one more. And I'm going to turn this around and actually do a little bit of back stitch here too. Just so I know that it's nice and strong where I'm going to pull it through. Okay, now I'm going to stop that. The needle's in the right spot of the cycle where I can pull it away, trim my thread. I'm going to trim the thread from the beginning. And now comes the exciting part where we're going to pull it all inside out. And this is where it's good that we have all these ribbons in here because we can actually start to pull them. I know I have a pin in there. I'm going to pull that pin out of the way. And now we're going to pull this whole thing inside out. This part is where it gets a little tricky, but if we leave the opening big enough, it's not too difficult. You can see now how we have this flat area that is our mask. And that's interesting. Oh, that was a pin. Left one in. Should have taken all the pins out before I turned it inside out. And this isn't easy when it's like this. Oh, it's probably on the other side. I see now. Okay, got that pin out. Make sure we got all the pins out. Yeah, there we go. So here's our, I'm gonna get this guy. Here are our pins. We have this pin here too, okay. Our ribbons. And this is the basic flat part of the mask. The next thing that we're gonna wanna do is add some pleats. So I know the pattern calls for 3. I think these do a little better with 2. I feel like this just isn't big enough to get 3 in there. Now maybe if you had an iron and you're real precise about how you stitch and how you iron. I'm just trying to do a quick video here for you, so it's not too, I'm not being super precise. I just want a basic mask that's gonna cover your face. And so I'm putting a pin on each end of these pleats. I may put one in the middle too, just so it lays nice while I'm stitching around the edges and finishing the edges. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put one in the middle too. And another one in the middle. Here we go. So take a look at what we have here. We've got pins here, okay? And you can see how it's folded and the pleats are on both sides. So now this was the edge where our seam is still open. So we're gonna just kind of press that down. If you have an iron, that's a good idea too. And we're gonna take that, we're gonna go along that seam first. And let me get my thread all set up here towards the back and not towards the side. There we go. And the first set of stitches around, let me adjust my pedal again. Go around here. Okay, we're gonna get to the corner. And I'm gonna put the needle down, lift up the presser foot. And now comes the fun part where we have to go over the pleats. I kind of have to guide these over a little bit. We have to try and take it slow. And this is why you don't want your pins too close to the edge either. This poor little sewing machine was not meant to do things that are too thick, so I try to take it real slow on these. Okay, there we go. And now we'll do the other long edge with no pleats. These we can do pretty quick. Boy, this is fun fabric. It's gonna be, let me make sure I have this pulled out. Yeah, I do. It's gonna be kind of potluck. Oh, yeah, there we go. With your fabrics. We used all different kinds of fabric that was donated to the Ciccone Lab. So we don't know what you're gonna get. And we mixed them all up. So, all right, I got these a little too close. I don't want them to hit the presser foot as we go by. So here we go again. We're gonna do our pleats. We're gonna make sure it tucks in nice. I would not recommend you put your fingers that close to the needle normally. So be very careful. Do not sew your fingers. All right. Now a little bit more. And we're gonna just give this a quick turn. With these really wide ribbons, the corners are not real square. Okay, we're gonna go here. Put that last little bit. And that's the end of that one, but we're just gonna lift up the presser foot and pull a little bit to get the thread loose in between, and we're gonna do one more seam all the way around inside of that one. So this way it'll have 2 sets of seams. Oop, yeah, of course you sometimes have to trim that thread in between the 2 seams. Okay. See how it just goes right around, just inside. Now we're gonna stop just in, and these are only, I'm using a real small seam here. I guess it's like 3/8, 1/4. With this machine, I could usually get away with real small seam allowance. Do what you're comfortable with. If you're sewing these by hand, I don't know if you need to go around twice. It might seem very onerous. But I like to go around twice. It gets the pleats very secure along the edges. Okay, lots more down here. We are almost done. Almost done. And one more. And just about there. And that should do it. I've got my needle right up to the top. And we're gonna pull this out, trim this here, and there we go. This, we take out our pins. And we got that, thank you. And here we are. Okay, I'll put it on with these. You've got the ties. We'll do that. And then you could tie the top then the bottom, or, okay, and then you tie the back. We got a bow. Addendum here about the ribbons is that some of them, especially these wider ones where they're cut, they're gonna fray a lot. So I'm gonna show you how I would quickly get these ends so that they're not gonna keep fraying on you. And over here, what I did was I folded the ribbon over, and I'm going to just put a few stitches in it. Just down again, put the thing in, and maybe I'll just make a little X here, or a diagonal, and there. And we're gonna flip that around. Or actually, here we go. Let's just use an end. Actually, let's finish one more, and then we'll go over to here. So this is a little bit tedious. Something else you could do is if you have a hot knife, you could possibly cut them, and then that would seal the edges. So, but this is what I've done. There we go, let's move it onto the light, sorry. Yeah, you can see that I just folded it over and just ran a few stitches up and down back on it. That'll keep it from fraying. Okay.